Group policy is so hugely important in a Windows environment. We're going to be looking at it intensely in this course together, but right now let's just do a quick little trick with group policy. Let's manage group membership with it, and this is a hands-on lab nugget, so follow along with me if you choose. In the hands-on lab, let's get logged into DC Nug 1. And let's begin by creating an organizational unit and a group and some users within that organizational unit. And let's leverage the automation that we did in the previous nugget. So go into your ISE and let's load the script that we had for creating an OU and a group and users. So remember, we'll go to View and show the script pane. And then we'll use the Open button to grab that Auto AD Group OU script that's inside of your Documents folder. What we'll do inside this script is we'll highlight the creation of an organizational unit and users and a group, and then we will not, of course, manipulate group membership because we want to do that inside of group policy. So let's run the selection, everything up to adding users to the group. All right, great. So we've got our OU, we've got our group, we've got our users. Let's have some fun now with group policy. We'll fire up the server manager, and from the tools menu, we're going to go to group policy management. Like I said, I can't emphasize it enough. We are going to be looking at group policy intensely together in this course. We've been touching on it as we've gone through because it's so critically important, but we'll be really spending a lot of time here coming up. Anyways, what we're going to do is expand our domains, and we know inside of our domain, there is the default domain policy. This message is something I've been kind of blowing off. We'll deal with it intensely when we deal with group policy. But anyways, what we'll do is we'll right-click that default domain policy, and we'll choose Edit. Inside of our group policy editor for that default domain policy, we're going to go to Policies, Windows Settings, and inside Windows Settings, we're going to go to Security Settings, and notice there's this Restricted Groups feature. If we right-click and we add a group, and the group that we're going to add is our Florida Sales Account Operators group, so I'll just do FL and check the name, there it is. This group we can add to the Restricted Groups feature, and we can bring in what members of this group we want to exist. Now notice the name of this node inside of group policy. It's restricted group, and you look at this and you say, okay, well, we can add members of this group, and we can even take this group and make it a member of another group. This is group nesting, and we'll be dealing with that in the very next nugget. But think about this, the restricted group feature. Oh, okay, so we're going to put users into this group using group policy, and we'll make sure that only those users are in this group. Kind of, sort of. You see, unfortunately, this feature does not work in a domain group environment. This is for local groups that you would use inside of Windows. Interesting. So while we're going to leverage this feature in our domain to populate the group with its users, please understand, as far as restrictions go, it's not going to work in a domain group environment. Super interesting, and that fact is not really covered in much of the documentation you'll find on Active Directory. So let's choose the Add button, and we will browse for users that we're going to add. We'll do a search on user and check the names, and we've got all three of these user accounts we want to add to the group. So do a shift click, say OK again, say OK a third time, and we just populated that group with those user accounts. How cool if we refresh group policy. So let's go down to a command prompt and let's do our GP update in order to refresh group policy. By the way, there's lots of options that we can use with GP update, and we'll be covering those intensely when we cover group policy. All right, so it says this worked. Let's see if it did indeed work. We're going to go back to the server manager. We'll go to Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers, and let's go into that Florida Sales OU. Let's go into the security group, and let's go to Members, and we can see the group policy setting of restricted groups did populate that group for us. Awesome. Remember, though, it will not enforce this membership. So we could add other members. We could even take out one of these user accounts, and that policy is not going to do a thing for us as far as restrictions go because we are not dealing with a local group. We're dealing with a domain group. In this nugget, you and I did a great group policy trick. We used the restricted group feature in order to populate a security group with user accounts. I hope you found this nugget informative, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.